13. Young people, lean in on this text, because this text is going to have a lot of meaning for you. And I think any elder person would say to you, if they had the opportunity, they wish they knew who they were sooner. If I had to, I think that would be what if we could pass down, if we knew what we knew. And the stuff that we thought was important then, and the people we thought was important then. I want some of the money back. Let me stop. Some of them drinks I bought for some of them women, I want my money back. I should have saved it all for everything. That's all I do. Somebody say he needed too. He needed that. Numbers chapter 13, verse 21. But the men who had gone up with him said, watch what they say about themselves. We're not able to go up against the people because they're looking at them, for they're so stronger than we. And they gave the children of Israel a bad report of the land, which they spied out, saying, the land through which we have gone as spies is a land that devours its inhabitants. Oh, I'm sorry, 31, Numbers 13, 31. How's that? Now, Ronnie, I'm shocked it wasn't you this time. But your spirit done rubbed off on the whole congregation. I don't know why people miss church and hour worship today. They out their mind. I wouldn't miss a week. How this thing gonna go? All right, 13:31. We got it now? Are we there? Now let's start all over. But the men who had gone up with him said, we're not able to go up against the people, for they're stronger than we. And they gave the children of Israel a bad report about the land which they had spied out, saying, the land through which have gone out as spies is land that devours its inhabitants, and all the people whom we saw were like giants. Verse 33. This is critical to the text. Read it. There we saw from giants, and we were like grasshoppers in our own sight. You see that? Let me say that again. We were like grasshoppers, not in their sight, but we were grasshoppers in our own sight, and so we were in their sight. Look at them and say, neighbor, I got to get out of my own way. I got to get out of my own way. Oh, Father, give me the strength to teach your word. Change, as we've been undergoing, is individualistic. I'm not here to look at your change. People who are in glass houses ought not throw stones. So therefore, I'm self-reflecting introspectively, because there's some things that Chad needs to change, and I'm hoping there's some things that you need to change that causes us not to look to the left or to the right, but to be intentional about what God is speaking into your life for you. We've also cleared the reality that it's good to have external resolutions and things that will improve our exterior. But at the end of the day, the changes that are permanent, the changes that are more resolute, the changes that will bring us a better 2020 are the changes that we reconcile we have to make internally. And we subscribe to the notion that I don't just want to look good out on the exterior, but I also want to have a soul that matches my particular life. I don't want to have a $300 suit on, but got a $50 spirit. I want my life, my inward life, to reconcile with my external life. So it was clear that we said, as we dealt with Jacob, that even though God has graced us to have success, that does not necessarily mean that the methods and means to which we've done it was right. We have to submit to God's will and ways, because just because it worked by grace doesn't mean it'll continue to work. And oftentimes we have to line our ways and wills up with God, and we have to determine the fact that the way God wants to take us, his will for our life, you just got to come to grips with what God would want to have you to be is what God would have you to be. And then we have to understand God's worth for us, that we're not defined by our mistakes. So that he loves our flaws. I get it now. Oh yeah, I'm on it now. Meaning he doesn't allow our mistakes to develop our value. Look at your neighbor and say, I did it, but it wasn't who I was. You see? Oh yeah. That I'm not defined by what I am. I'm defined by what God has made. And God says, young people, here it is, you're fearfully and wonderfully made. God says you're the head and not the tail. God says you're the lender and not the borrower. God says greater is he that's in you than he that's in the world. And when we understand who we are in God, it becomes a revolutionary experience when it comes to our living here on life. See? And so now, in this particular text, we're trying now, how do I change when the change needs to be my perspective of myself? Yeah, how do you change? When the change you need to make is how you look at yourself in the mirror. Now I know there's been a lot of preaching about narcissism and inflated view, and that's one view. But there's another one that is just as detrimental, and that's a deflated view of self. And most of us sometimes, because life has a way of stripping us of our human dignity, life can give you a sense of low worth. And now everything you'll operate out of is a low view of self. Don't mind working, this is good. Young people, I'm telling you, if you know who you are early, man, help me, Lord. I didn't know. My mom was trying to raise a bougie child. I didn't realize I really was a nerd. My mom would send me to tap dance lessons and stuff. Left, right. She wanted me to be so bougie, she took me to flute class. I was a flautist. But the problem is nobody else in my neighborhood was going to tap dance class. They was going to pharmaceutical class. That went over somebody here. You ain't been living that long. Stop playing. Some of y'all now using weed, talking about it's legal. Stop. Talking about it's for my cataracts. You got 20/20. But because I didn't appreciate that I was the only one in my neighborhood who had a mom and dad and was going a different trajectory and didn't know whom God had called me to be, I tried to fit in arenas, all because I didn't know who I was in the beginning. And young people, I'm telling you, if you get something out of this message, know who you are right now. Because there are people you think are friends, right? Oh God, I wish I had some witnesses in here. There's some people that you're going to date that's going to break your heart, but you ought to be thankful. Because when you know who you are, then you won't fool up with folk that don't appreciate who you are. And what you can do is you don't need anybody outside to tell you who you are. God's going to tell you who you are. You're fearfully and wonderfully made. Look at your neighbor and say, do you know who you sit next to? Do you tell him? Tell him. Do you know who you sit next to? You sit next to somebody that's God's child. You sit next to somebody who's been through something. So don't look at me. You already blessed. You don't got to look at the Bible to see a miracle. Just look to the left and to the right, and it ought to give you enough veracity to give God the glory. The fact that he woke the person up to the left, he gave grace to the right. You ought to give God a praise in the middle. Holler at your boy as I'm preaching. Here in this particular text, God is about close for them to walk into the promised land. It's harder the closer you get. I've written 136 pages, but the last 3 have been hard. It's like watching paint dry. Because the closer you get to something. And some of y'all, instead of you pouting that it's getting hard, you ought to give God praise. Because it's God giving you an indication. The reason why the devil is fighting you so intensely is because you are closer than you think to where God would have you. I wish I had some folk that know how to look at a rear view mirror. When you ever look in a rearview mirror, what does it say? Objects are closer. Y'all not missing what I'm saying. And God dropped me by here, right here on this Sunday, to tell you don't quit, don't capitulate, don't give up. Your blessing is closer than what you think. And if you realize that the intensity in your life is a confirmation, okay, y'all missed what I said. I wish I had some folk that understood the ice cream truck blessing. So y'all mustn't have ice cream trucks in Delaware. I grew up from the ice cream truck. I didn't get excited when I saw the ice cream truck. Woo! I got excited when I heard it. And I come to tell somebody, you might not see the blessing, but I hear the look at your neighbor and say, I hear the blessing. It is all. Go ahead. 2 spies to go to the land, and they were supposed to bring back on the land, not that they had to work for, but God was going to give them. 2 spies from each tribe had to go to the land. And their job was to come back and to testify how good the land was. 2 spies left from each tribe to go over there and only affirm what God had already preordained. And they got tricked up, they got trapped, and here's the first thing I need to be delivered from. Here's the first thing I suggest you need to be delivered from. I have to be delivered from people's perception of me. I have to first be delivered from how people view me. It's right here. I'm not making this up. It's right here in the text, right here. But with the men who had gone up with them, this is what they say: we're not able to go up against the people. Why? Because they're stronger than we are. Here it is. They're going there to show, to confirm the promise that God has made. And while they go into the particular land, you think that this would be a moment of shouting, because this is the place that they've been waiting for since they've been delivered from Egypt. They've been through the wilderness, and they've had manna flow from heaven. They've had strains, they have struggles, and they have suffering. And now after Mount Sinai, they've had a manifestation, and God is now telling them, you're about to enter into your promised land. He's almost, what do they talk about in the movie? It's almost what they call a sneak preview. You know, they do the preview of the movie, and all God is trying to do is show them a sneak preview. He thought the sneak preview would get them excited, but because they had been enslaved for so long, because they've been in the wilderness so long, they've been in a new place but still had an old mentality. Work, Chad Hinson. Okay, I will. Because just because you're in a new season, you can also bring an old mentality into a new place. And if you keep wrestling around with an old mentality, when God is trying to do something new and revolutionary in your life, you can find yourself back in the same old situation. Here, they could not appreciate what God will do. They said, wait, we see them. And because they look bigger than them, we are small in our own eyes. Yeah, preach, Jesse. That's the problem. We look too much at other people. Touch yourself and say, I'm all right by myself. And you see, we let America begin to judge us by bank accounts, and judge us by what we drive, and judge us by what we wear. That's how come young folk don't think they ain't wearing nothing if it ain't name brand. The devil is a liar. We're not who we are by what we wear. What did we say? Look at you and say, I'm not my hair. I just felt that right there. I'm not, no. I am not my exterior. I'm what God has put inside of me. And to prove how strong I know, y'all not going to help me here. If some of the folk that got more money than you started where you started, they wouldn't be where you are right now. So I don't judge where you are. I judge how far it took for you to get where you are. We're always looking over our shoulder. But I'm to the point, I'm glad how God has worked in my life. I'm appreciative of the history that me and God has made. I don't got to look over at your house to try to define my house. If I only got a one-bedroom, so be it. I'll bless him in a one-bedroom. I'll bless him in a studio. Y'all not going to help me preach. I'll bless him in an apartment. I'll bless him in a row house. Or I'll bless him in 5 bedrooms. Is there anybody here that will bless God no matter what? Do I got any company in the room? Pointer brings this back, as we discussed, the biggest thing that's happening in Arkansas, where they fired the boy from Popeyes because at the end of the shift, he would take the chicken outside, and instead of having those who could not afford food go in the trash can to get the chicken, he would give them the chicken to their hand. And Popeyes fired him on chicken he's gonna throw away anyway. And his rebuttal was, I didn't want to keep stripping them of their human dignity, so I wanted to give the chicken to them so they know we're in the same boat. I don't know who I'm talking to, but don't let your situation define who you are. You're fearfully and wonderfully made. Look at your neighbor, say, neighbor, they might have left you, but they made a mistake. If you look at them wrong, will make you think ill of you. Okay, I'm proving. Y'all remember Michael Spinks and Mike Tyson? Y'all remember, don't you? Y'all remember the fight? We all thought Tyson was a great boxer. We never realized he never boxed. He only threw 1, 2, 3 punches. You know why? Because when you had one look at Mike, and he chewing on his tongue, you said this fight is over. Michael Spinks came out in 3 seconds and laid on the ground like he was getting a massage. Come on, help me. Because when he looked at the enemy, he saw his own weakness and flaws. But Holyfield said, wait a minute. Holyfield said, wait a minute. He's not intimidating me because I know who I am. And when Holyfield revealed that he wasn't a boxer, he was a bruiser. Y'all know what I'm saying? And I come to tell somebody, don't you let the enemy make you afraid of who you are. You need to look your circumstances in the face and say, for God I live, and for God I die. And if God be for me, well, who shall be against me? From your perceptions of me, but I can't let my bad perceptions pervert the place God has me in. Because sometimes your bad self-worth can make you look at everything pessimistic. It's right in the text. Look what they say. And they gave the children of Israel a bad report of the land which they spied out. Wait a minute. Now, y'all first start talking about how the people. Now, you said that the land is not worth going into. But over in 31, in 20, you said that the land was rich and the grapes were so big you had to carry it but with clusters. What happened? First, you talked about how the land was flowing with milk and honey. First, you talked about how wonderful the land was. Now, as soon as you run in opposition, now all of a sudden the thing you said is good. Now you're saying it's bad. Yeah, I'm gonna work. I got you. Because see, we like things to be easy. We've created a narrative in church where you think that blessings should come without resistance. Marriages on the rise of getting divorced in church Because people think when you get married, you don't go through anything. Huh? Come on, man, y'all leave me every time. Don't y'all leave me. Y'all just start looking to the right. I don't know what he's talking about. But you can't be married and not have conflict. Matter of fact, if it ain't no argument, it ain't no love. Huh? Sometimes you need a good argument to test the emotional status of the relationship. Huh? There's nothing you're going to do in life where you will not face opposition. And this is critical. Chris Corn is right. There's a difference between frustration and burnout. It's all right to be frustrated. Life will bring with it frustration. But it's another thing when you let the frustration define your future. Are you with me here? They've gotten to the point where they're looking at the land that they've been waiting for all this time. They're looking at the blessing and they have the audacity to flip the report and say the report is not good. No, the devil is a lie. Do not allow your personal pain to abort the place God has for you. Touch yourself and say, I'm going somewhere. Tell them I'm going somewhere. Tell them I'm going somewhere. No, I'm going somewhere. Because God is trying to take you to a place that if you are not careful, you allow yourself to mess it up. And then you'll start suggesting the place is not good. But I know about you. Oh, I feel good now. I've been waiting too long to get where God's taking me. I wish I had a witness in here now. I've been through too much hell and high water. Y'all not gonna help me here. I've been talked about myself to get where God has taken me. And I'm coming to tell you that you don't have to sit there and try to make something look bad. If God says it's for you, then it's for you. And what you need to do, instead of getting frustrated, you need to buckle down and trust God for his miracle. It's here. They said, wait a minute, this land. But here is the crux here. He said, wait a minute. Then we saw giants. The descendants of Anak came from the giants, and we were like grasshoppers on our own side. And so we were in their side. He said, wait a minute. Wait now. They said, wait a minute. We saw them. We looked at them. And we concluded that they are so big. And here's the text, here's the critical moment. But in our own eyes, we were like grasshoppers. Not in their eyes. In their own eyes. That they began to diminish themselves because they spent too much time embracing other people's strength and not valuing the strength God's given them. I'm working now. First of all, let me say this. Look at your neighbor and say, be you. Tell them, be you. Don't fit in, be yourself. Don't try to clone yourself. Don't try to be somebody God's not called you to be. Don't try to do stuff that God's not called you to do. God has fearfully and wonderfully, uniquely made you. And you, listen, you got to get delivered from the magazine. Listen, hear me. I got to know who I is. And be okay with it. Huh? I've been chubby all my life. I've been short all my life. I didn't just get here. I think Billy D. Williams is good, but I also think Chad is too. Come on, talk to me here. And you right here chasing Halle Berry, the devil is a lie. Halle Berry got 13 surgeons. Look at them and say, be you. Be the best you can be. Y'all too deep now. I know how to have a good time by myself. My wife asked me, who you up there talking to? Me. And I'm having a good time talking to me. I'm the funniest man I ever met in my... Look at them and say, enjoy yourself. Tell them, enjoy yourself. Spending time trying to fit into other places. Now watch this. The reason why God's blessing you is because you're you. If he wanted you to be a clone, he would have made you a clone. Be whom God's called you to be. The person that he's created you to be. Me and my wife are opposites. We are opposites. She can sit there all day, don't say a word, and be happy. She just sit there. I don't want to hit her head. You alive? But that's how she enjoys. She's reflective. She's not going to spend time trying to be funny. At the same token, I'm not sitting there trying to be... Because I spent the first 10 years of my ministry trying to be like other preachers. That's what I'm telling you. I know what I'm talking about. Walking around with Stacey Adams and I'm 12 years old. The devil is a liar. Be the person God's created you to be. And I promise you, if you be your authentic self, God will give you a blessing that's tailor-made for you. You ain't got to freeload. You ain't got to get nothing. Somebody say, what God has for me. Watch what it says. I'm pushing it. In our own eyes. Because sometimes your history can make you think ill of yourself. Yeah. Sometimes what you've been through can make you feel as if you don't deserve what God wants you to have. Come on, help me preach now. And so what you do is you self-sabotage because you think since I don't deserve it, God gonna take it, so I might as well mess it up anyway. Come on, y'all, help me. Huh? And God is trying to say to you, instead of you looking at your history negatively, you should look at your history positively. Okay, I'll tell my story. Tell my story. Tell mine. Tell my story. Huh? Because sometimes when you compare yourself to other people, you can be down on yourself. Came back one time, had a nice little dinner with all the heavyweights, and they was in the room, and they said, what's wrong? I was a little teary-eyed. I said, well, I just realized I didn't have the start they had. My daddy wasn't a pastor. And they went right from college to Morehouse. And I had a GED. I'm just telling my story. I said, then he went right from Morehouse to IC3, got the master's degree. And seems like I get a little intimidated when I'm around other scholars. I know usually it's your story, but it's my story. I know you all right in every room you go with. Then they dropped this thing on me. She said, wait a minute. Would they have survived? Would they have survived what you had to go through? If they had to grow up in your car, y'all with me what I'm saying. And all I'm trying to get you to do is stop looking at your history like it's bad, but start looking at your history like, look what I've accomplished after all I've been through. Is there anybody here that can give God a praise that when you look back over your life, you can see how God has been preparing you for such a time as this? I dare you to give God a praise for what he brought you through. Do me a favor, pull on your neighbor and say he brought you through. I'm done. I'm done. Look at them and say he brought somebody a long way. Look at your neighbor and say he brought us somebody a long way. So I'm not going to look down on myself. because many folk would have been crazy by now, Sister Radley. But the fact that I'm here says that God. I got it. I'm done. Thank you. Here it is. My daughter, my future son-in-law, are buying a house. They are. Praise be Jesus. They got a plan. 2 young kids with good credit. Praise the Lord. I had to get the HUD program. That's all I'm saying. I had to get the first time buyer's option with supervision. So we all winning as a community. And you know, when you bring other people into your dream, we all think what house is best. Chazzy saw this house, Alex saw this house. And it was old in the front, nice in the inside. Brought me in, I said, wait a minute, the house might be too old, let's look at something newer. Because you gotta be careful. Because now I'm gonna advise them on my dysfunctionality to fix anything. So because I'm mechanically challenged, you need to make sure everything brand new. Some people came in and said, man, there's too much house. What you do with all this house? And despite how much they love both their parents, they was two stubborn jokers. God bless them. They said, just because you don't see it. Y'all missed it, I'm done. Just because you don't see the beauty does not mean I don't see the beauty. And I come to tell somebody, don't you let somebody talk you out of what you see. Because if you see what God has for you, then what you need to do is do everything in your possible ability. Look at your neighbor, say, neighbor, I see what God is doing, and I won't let it go down again. I dare to give God a praise for what he's going to do in your life. Do me a favor, pull on your neighbor, say, neighbor, God is not through with you yet. So give him the praise and give him the glory, because won't he do it? Everybody stand. I see it. It looks good. And I'm not going to let you talk me out of it. What I see God doing. I'm not going to let my pain talk me out of it. Here's the caveat to the text. They said this is what they said. They like giants. They like giants. Came from the line of Philistine. They had no idea that the giant they was afraid of would come from the same line that David whipped. All I'm saying is what stands in your way, stay faithful. All you need is one good stone. You're here. My sister, my brother, I'm telling you, Jesus is the way. Bottom line, I ain't even no joking. I'm serious, man. God is here. Jesus is here. I look back over my life, had it not been for him. Died on the cross, saved my life. Can I be honest with y'all? He saved me from me. Yeah, he did. Changed my life, turned my life, revolutionized my life upside down. And here's my concern. Here's my wish, and I got people who testify. I wish I'd have got saved sooner. Come on, y'all. And I know how good God was. We fell into this misnomer that God is an old man, an old woman's religion. No, the God of the old is the God of the young. He's for lottie-dottie, everybody. And I don't know who you are, young woman, older boy. You might say, but I don't want to be under the pressure. Listen. In that school you in, you need Jesus. I don't care what school it is, whatever, you need Jesus. Because the God we serve will open the door for you. With your pastor, I got to do this before I get saved. No, you don't. God says, come to him just as you are. Without one plea, bring to him who you are, and God will change and revolutionize your life. You're here today. You need Jesus as a personal Savior. I'm here to testify that he's never left me nor forsook me. And every struggle, strain, every battle, he's been there right by my side. If you're here today, you say, Pastor, I need that. I need that Savior. I need that. I need that. Don't wait for next Sunday. God is an on-time God. He's talking to you as we speak. The Spirit of God is moving. Do me a favor, but do yourself a bigger favor. You're 5 steps from a revolution in your life. 5 strong steps from change happening. If this is you, my sister, my brother, won't you come? Is there one? Is there one? Come on. Is there one? Is there one? Come on. Is there one? Is there one? Maybe you hear you're backsliding, you fell out of fellowship with God. I love it because God is married, tied to the backslider. You might leave him, but he will never ever leave you. And my mama said it better than I could, grandma said it better than I could. Your arms are too short to box with God. And right now it's not Satan, it's God. Put him on you because he's calling you back to him. The day you hear his voice, harden not your heart. Won't you come? Oh, bless your mama, bless you. Bless your mama, bless you. Oh, bless your mama. Come on, young man, come on, young man. God bless you. Rock Junior. Come on, is there another? Woo, is there another? Come on. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Come on, baby. Come on. Is there another? Woo! With everything. Everyone else around, only see the world. He's all won't you come? Come on, he saw the best in me. When everyone else around could only see the worst in me. Cause he saw the best in me. Come on, you're here. I'm done. You say you love God, but you need to be a part of a biblical preaching and teaching church, a place you can go, a place you can call home. We're not perfect, but we just trust God that we're a place where everybody's somebody. Jesus Christ is Lord. The doors of our church are open. We'd be honored if you choose our church. Won't you come? Is there one? Come on. Come on. Come on. He saw the best in me. Everyone else around can only see the worst in me. I said he saw the best. Listen, I'm done. But listen to me. I sense I'm waiting on somebody. I feel like I'm waiting on you. And your life is on fire. And I've come like the fire department to give you a ladder to get out of that fire. My sister, my brother, I don't know who I'm talking to. But it's not not me talking, it's God talking to you right now. Change is waiting for you today. Today you hear his voice. Harden not your heart. If this is you, my sister, this is you, my brother, don't worry about it, but I gotta fix this. I got all that. God will do better fixing you than you'll ever do. I'm done. But if it's you, my sister, if they're walking, if they're next to you, tell them I walk down with you because this is important. This is important. This is important. This is important. This ain't me. This is God speaking through. This is you, my sister, my brother. Won't you come? Is there one of them? Is there one of them? Come on. Come on. Come on. I am. Come on. Give God a praise with a little bit of time.
Gracious Heavenly Father, Lord, we come in the name of Jesus to thank you and praise you. God, we just thank you for just being God. We thank you for a time of giving, a time of worship. Lord, and most of all, we thank you for keeping your hands on the Alpha Worship Center for those that are here that could not give, God, but you know their heart. Bless them anyway. In Jesus' name we pray with thanksgiving. We all say amen. 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 The stewards are coming at this time. And also, this is Sunday. We want the youth to come up also. Amen. We're going to need another youth over here to hold this basket. Amen. Right over here. Yep. Amen. Here we go. Right over here. Amen.
Above all
stand so we can acknowledge you and the guests? Would you please stand if there's any guests here for the first time? Amen. Amen. And we're going to love on you a little bit. Give you some much love. Amen. Thank you for coming and enjoying. You know, we want to let you know that you're not a guest no more. Come on, you family. Come on and enjoy and hear the word from our very own Pastor Hinson. Amen. 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 I'm going to have Deacon Parker come up, and then I'm going to have Deaconess Theodore Boyd come up and speak on the women's ministry. You want to go first? Is Theodore? Oh, there you go. Hey.
Good morning, family. How are you? Oh, ladies, I hear you good. Did y'all see that table outside? Our senior sisters, y'all showing up and showing out. I'm here representing you guys, but I have 3 announcements, so I'm going to make a list. There are some gifts on the table. When I call your name at the end of service, please stop by the table and pick up your love gift. That would be Phyllis Drummond, Sister Sadira Webster, Danette Mitchell, Therese Williams, Renee English, Vicky Artis, Aisha Monroe, Reverend Sheila Moe, Joyce Loper, Karen Burnett, Marlene White, and Brother Rodney, would you represent your wife and pick up her love gift? Also, ladies, we're going to renew for some, start over again for some after the holidays for our P31 small groups. Our P31 small groups theme is I'm praying for you. What do the New Testament apostles teach us about prayer? That's what we will be discussing in our classes. I'm going to need all the facilitators as you leave to stop by the table outside and pick up your pamphlet that has your schedule and your syllabus for our P31 classes. Finally, please, ladies, save the date, March 8th. There will be some flyers put on the table out. March 8th is the date for our 2nd annual Women's Day. Save that date. It starts at 10 o'clock in the morning, and there will be more information to give you to follow. If there's any questions, please stop and talk to, it would be any one of the women's the facilitators that can answer any of your questions. Until we start our classes again, please enjoy your secret sisters and connecting with each other. Thank you.
I'm going to help you out. I'm helping you out a little bit. Because when you announced it last week, they were loud. Now this time it was a little low. So I'm going to try to help you out. Oh yeah, I want to hear that, yeah. You need the mic? All right, amen. Amen. Deacon Parker, I didn't get pulled into that. Come on, Deacon Parker.
Amen, amen. Praise the Lord for another wonderful youth service. It's been a blessing what God is doing in the youth of this church. I want to thank the youth choir. First, let me start by thanking those that cooked the breakfast. Once again, it was just lovely what you ladies did. The breakfast is always on point. So thank not Robert, to thank all those who took part in serving breakfast this morning. With our guests that came and sung for us, we certainly want to thank you. As was mentioned earlier, we're going to have you come out again and worship with us again. We got some awesome plans. They've already agreed to come out and worship with us and partner with us in some things that we're doing for the youth. We got some wonderful things planned this year, starting with Black History Month. Amen. Amen. We have something planned for every Sunday in Black History Month. It's right here. Amen? Amen. And not only that, in honor of Martin Luther King, whose birthday is tomorrow, we have two young ladies. I'm going to ask them to come on up now and just do a small piece regarding Martin Luther King. Amen?
Every January, schools and many government offices close down to honor the birthday of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Students appreciate Martin Luther King Day and many other holidays, mostly because they give them a break from school. However, there is a deeper reason to be thankful on Martin Luther King Day. Let's look at King's inspirational character, his accomplishments, and the way in which he improved our country and our lives. Born on January 15, 1929, King was the third generation of men in his family to graduate with honor from Morehouse College. He distinguished himself for academic and theological excellence at Crozer Theological Seminary in Pennsylvania, and then went on to earn his doctorate from Boston University. He met and married Coretta Scott in Boston, and together they raised a daughter and two sons. King became the pastor of a Baptist church in Montgomery, Alabama in 1954.
Upset by the unjust way African Americans were treated, King decided to become actively involved in fighting for their civil rights. He was an executive member of the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, often known today as the NAACP. When Rosa Parks was arrested in 1955 for refusing to give up her bus seat to a white passenger, King was asked to be the leader of nonviolent bus boycott that lasted 382 days. In spite of dangerous attacks on his church, his home, and his family, King never lost his faith or his determination. Though his home was bombed and he was arrested, he fiercely led the fight. The boycott was successful in ending the separation of races on public transportation and making the whole nation aware of the need for civil rights reform. Elected as the president of the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, King used the peaceful method of another important human rights activist, Mahatma Gandhi, combined with his own Christian faith to promote equal rights for the people of all races. He traveled around the country giving over 500,000 speeches and writing articles and books. He organized opportunities for African Americans to register to vote. Dr. King's most famous speech was in front of 250,000 people who gathered after a peaceful march on Washington, D.C. In his speech, King spoke of the dream that his descendants would one day live in a world where they would be judged by their accomplishments rather than by the color of their skin. His inspirational words are still from the most quoted today. He met with Presidents John F. Kennedy and Lyndon B. Johnson. His work caused him to be arrested by some and honored by others. When King was just 35 years old, he was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize. He donated the money earned from the prize right back into the fight for civil rights. Had Dr. King been able to live out his full life, there is no doubt he would have continued to be force of change of civil rights. Unfortunately, his life was cut short by the assassin's bullet. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. died on April 4, 1968 in Memphis, Tennessee, where he was preparing to lead another protest march for the rights of workers who were being treated unfairly. Each January, we celebrate his birthday in order to honor his dream and remember all that he did to protect the rights of our people of the United States. Thank you.
Amen. Amen. So we have another small piece on Dr. Martin Luther King. As many as you know, his I Have a Dream is probably his most famous speech. But Dr. King gave many speeches, one of which he spoke to young people in the city of Philadelphia. And we're going to play an excerpt of that now. And young people, I want you to hear this, because even though this was spoken many years ago, it is still apropos today. Please.
proper, a solid, and a sound blueprint. And I want to suggest some of the things that should be in your life's blueprint. Number one, in your life's blueprint should be a deep belief in your own dignity, your own worth, and your own someotherness. Don't allow anybody to make you feel that you are nobody. Always feel that you count. Always feel that you have worth. And always feel that your life has ultimate significance. Secondly, in your life's blueprint, you must have, as a basic principle, the determination to achieve excellence in your various fields of endeavor. You're going to be deciding as the days and years unfold what you will do in life, what your life's work will be. Once you discover what it will be, set out to do it, and to do it well. Be a bush if you can't be a tree. If you can't be a highway, just be a trail. If you can't be the sun, be a star. For it isn't by signs that you win or you fail. Be the best of whatever you are. Finally, in your life's blueprint must be a commitment to the eternal principles of beauty, love, and justice. Well, like none of us has been a crystal staff, we must keep moving. We must keep going. If you can't fly, run. If you can't run, walk. If you can't walk, crawl. But by all means, keep moving.
Amen. Oh, come on and give God a hand clap of praise. Amen.
Just one person whose gift I did not mention your name, and that would be Asia Hawkins. Please stop at the table. Thank you. I love you, Pastor Clark.
Come on and give God a hand clap of praise. Come on now, P31. Amen. Amen. Now, a couple corrections. Everybody have this flyer in their bulletin. Can you raise it? Can you pull it out, please? Because we got a little problem I got to correct. Yeah, can you wave it? Can you lift it high? Can you wave it? Can you wave it like you just don't care? All right. Now, it says save the date for Sunday, June 28th. Y'all got that? Okay. From 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. You got that, right? The 5th pastoral anniversary banquet honoring our senior pastor. We got that. We got that, right? Now, that ain't the shout. I'm going to show you what the shout's going to be. Right in front of pastor, there should be a DR. So from now on, so for those of you that don't know how to get it right, then let's get it right. Now we got to put the doctor in front of the pastor, amen? Oh, come on, help me celebrate our doctor, pastor, Chad Theodore Hinson. Come on now. Amen. Come on now, amen. So there's a little correction there. So from now on, we know everybody trying to wait for the official date, I know, but May is before June. I know that works, right? So amen. So anytime you do anything with pastor's name after June, after May, you got to put doctor, amen? Now, if you got a problem with putting doctor in front of you, I think you need to see me and the deacons so we can make sure we get that corrected, amen? So after May, we know what it's going to be, right? Now, the other part that you got to understand now how you going to call him? You going to call him doctor? Dr. Pastor or Pastor Doctor. Well, anyway, doctor got to be in it, amen? So let's just get this straight. Come on, give God a hand clap and pray. Amen, y'all got to correct those things. Another correction. All right, now, we're having our COM meeting is going to be on Thursday, the 23rd at 7 p.m. You know, the leaders, those involved in ministry. I know last year we was kind of lax with that. Please come or send a representative, because there's a lot of good information that you're going to need to hear. Because see, if you don't have the information, then a lot of the things you're going to put in is going to be overlooked. So we need you to come to COM so that we'll know who's involved, so we can disseminate all the information you need so that your ministry and the COM, we can move forward. So if you can't be there, send a representative, because we take roll. 7 o'clock, you want to be there, amen? Now, on Saturday, we're having our church leadership conference that starts at 8:30. Now, those are the leaders, okay? Also, this is for the leaders of your ministry. You need to be there as well. Great information is going to be shared. Information is going to be shared. Listen, we all be on one accord, so you don't want to miss the meeting. Because here's the key. If you miss the meeting, you don't need to say anything. Can I get an amen? Amen. Oh, that's a low amen. A lot of y'all must going to attend the meeting, amen? So you want to make sure that now the church meeting is going to be on the 26th. Now, we know that we have a lot of visitors. You're going to have family members and all that. That meeting is for members only, meaning that you receive the right hand of fellowship and you're a member of the Alpha Worship Center. Now, for those of us that may bring relatives, a great thing, we'll have a room for them to sit in until the meeting's over. The meeting will start immediately after service, amen? So just want to bring that to your attention so that if you bring someone, we don't want them to feel alone, but then we'll have them in a room that they'll be able to wait on you, amen? Amen. At this time, we'll have Pastor come up for benediction.
Come on, let's rest on our feet. Okay, we're going to finish our series off next Sunday. Will be our last one on our Change particular series, and we're going to look at the characteristics of a changed person. And so we're going to put the icing on the cake, and that'll be it for our change. So please don't miss it. All of them kind of linked together for a certain presentation. Grab your neighbor's hand. Father, we thank you for the people who represent this community of faith. Thank you as we're asking that you continue to revolutionize our individual lives. Help us, these servants, to be stable in the sanctity of our soul. Thank you for your grace and your mercy. Thank you for progress. Thank you for the church. Thank you for young people. Thank you for young choir. Thank you for young people who love God. That's a privilege. It's a joy. And we appreciate our young people. We thank you. We love you. And if you love the Lord, say amen. Say amen again. Amen. Come on, give God a praise. Before you leave, hug somebody. Say, be the best you can be.